I know in the Burnout Paradise 10-year anniversary special that I did, I sounded a bit negative in ways. And nowadays, I think that's to be obvious because, well, EA doesn't have much positives anymore. But honestly, back 10 or even more years ago, I was more excited for this game than I was for really about anything else. Like, even the Gran Turismos, even Need for Speeds, even, well, any game at that point. Burnout Paradise, I think when I got it up to maybe GT5, that might have been a bit more. That might get a future video. But to that point, I think I was more excited for Burnout Paradise than any other game that I physically got. I think GT4 and stuff was like bought for me. For Burnout Paradise, I remember I played even its demo a whole heck of a heap. And I actually got my dad to make me a Japanese account for the demo because the Japanese had a different car in the demo than the American account. That account sort of served as double usage too because about during that time there was a lot of Gran Turismo 5 demo stuff, so the Japanese could get different stuff in that too, so it kind of served double use, but still, it was originally made to actually get a different car even in the Burnout Paradise demo. It was basically Nissan Skyline. I can't remember the name of it. The one I do remember, though, is the bootlegger, which is a Dodge, given that in the main 10th anniversary special, I was in the bootlegger with Dukes of Hazzard edition, or Dukes of Mexico edition, because they couldn't get that in the game, even though it was paid DLC, but different. Try to be on the positives. Yeah, so the original car that everyone, at least in America, is given is actually a Dodge, which is pretty cockpit and cool, or based on a Dodge. I I kind of guessed that at the time. I kind of hoped that at the time, but then I figured that out as time went on, and that's pretty cockpit and cool. The first car everyone had to drive in the final Burnout game is a Dodge, but anyway, moving on. So I played that demo with that car they gave us in America, the Dodge, and then I also played it on a Japanese account in like a Nissan Skyline. And actually, just where I mean, I have an American connection, but with the Japanese account, I actually connected to American players. So some of them had bikes, and we're surprised at that one Japanese guy in the room with the GTR or Skyline back then, and everyone else had the Dodges. So that made me famous in the demo. And then the actual game was coming out January 22nd, 2008, as I said before. That particular day, well, I was excited to get the game because this Burnout games are cool. They always have been. Hopefully the remake will continue to always will be. And that day in particular, I remember was actually a snow day, so there was no school. That was actually after a relatively big storm too. I can't remember what day of the week it was, but it seems like I was off for like a before that day too. Like it may have just been weekend or something. I can't really remember. But I know there was probably a good 3 or 4 inches of snow on the ground. It was like 20 degrees, so there was some ice there too. The roads were just barely drivable, not for school buses, so school was canceled. Anyway, because it was a snow day and I was off to school anyway, my parents were pretty much off of work. I mean, they had like shorter days or whatever and appointments from what I can remember. I can't remember the specifics of that. But anyway, they had a chance to actually take me to the store very slowly. I think I got it at GameStop if I remember correctly. It may have even been EB Games back then. That makes it feel old too, but different thing altogether. As for the game itself, well, we were driving there. And we saw someone, well, drifting in a pretty Burnout Paradise style. They were even sort of kind of in a Burnout Paradise type car. Somebody thought they could be all nice in their souped up truck and thought they would do perfectly fine on the snow. So pretty much to take down 4x4, which I think is also wink wink a Dodge. Not 100% sure, but I think it might be. I think the truck skidding was actually Chevy, but it was a big lifted up truck, so it kind of still worked for that reference anyway. Well, that was skidding in a burnout style, and it actually ended up hitting a guardrail about 5 cars or so in front of us, and everybody was only going 20 or 30 miles an hour, so nobody got hurt. But yeah, on the way to get Burnout Paradise, we saw a wreck that would be something like Burnout Paradise. Somebody drifting and then messing up drifting. So, well, that was a sign of something, wasn't it? So we got to the store fine. We got the game, got back home fine. And pretty much since then, I've enjoyed the game. I played the demo tens of hours, probably not 100 hours, because it probably wasn't out for all that long before the game. Well, I mean, here's my stats for the game. Y'all can take that as you may. 77 hours. But this is my second PlayStation 3. I actually got this PlayStation 3 in 2011 because one broke, so it's probably more along the lines of 100 or so hours. Some of the stuff carried over, like licenses and stuff, like I haven't actually gotten licensed more since 2010. That's just because 2010 was, well, GT5 came out. That might get a different video. But I've been playing Burnout Paradise probably at least once every 6 months for the last 10 years now. Still, really good game. Yeah, he's done some stuff to make it worse, as I said in the previous video, but all in all, it's held up well, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but EA actually agrees with their fans. They're actually remaking it. Hopefully it's good, but I'll just leave that alone until it's actually out. If it is good, and it's actually on like PS4 and stuff, and it allows for like recording and stuff, I'll probably do videos on it. If it's $60, probably not, but if it's something like 20, 30, and it has all the DLCs, then maybe. But as for this game in general, a lot of good memories. Burnout Paradise was probably the first game that I played online for an extended period of time with. That and NBA 2K8 a little bit. For whatever reason, I was better at NBA games, it seems like, when I was a kid than I am now for a lot of aspects, but that's a different story. Burnout Paradise was probably the first one that actually tried to be quote-unquote competitive, and by competitive, I mean I just got in a big heavy car and tried to take people down, and then I tried to get more takedowns than the other person, which was competitive for me back then. And well, now I'm here with online stuff, so yeah, y'all take that as you may. I've always liked crashing people. So, well, there's my story for Burnout Paradise. All these stats are, like, legit or whatever. I actually did in, like, 2000... I think it was actually after I got the new PlayStation, because I wanted to get all the stuff saved because I didn't want it to break and lose saves. I just went ahead and bought the, like, all the cars unlocked thing. But in terms of the actual stats, like, all the events found and all the gates smashed and all that, that's true. I actually did do all that. It took me to 2015 to get all those gates. Burnout Paradise is a very in-depth game. I actually remember that. I spent probably the last 2 weeks of my 2015 summer vacation just finding all of the gates in Burnout Paradise. It actually took me to like the second day of school that year to actually do it. It took me beyond summer vacation to finish that. So good memories from 2008 to 2015 and even really 2018. I got someone's mugshot, which was a cool feature back then. People could actually put their own real-life pictures, or, well, pictures or whatever they wanted, but pictures of something not in the game that were actually sent to you if you took them down. I got one of those even in 2018, and I guess if the new one comes out, I'll get a whole heck of a heap more, if it's good. So yeah, memories now for the last 10 or so years that have stayed consistent too, because it's kept up online for all that time. Burnout Paradise, while it has its flaws, it might very well be the most consistently good game I've ever had. It's kept online the whole time. It's actually kept a relatively good amount of people online for the whole time. And there's just so much stuff to do in the game. There's the stunt runs, which I still haven't even become all that good at. There's road rage, which I'm really good at because, well, I'm really good at road rage in every other game as well. There's just the general races that kind of sort of everybody's good at because everybody races in every racing game ever. And there's even miscellaneous small stuff too, like finding stuff, doing jumps, doing the one-on-one challenges to get better versions of cars. And then there's all the online stuff too. There's even 500 online challenges. Burnout Paradise is one of the most in-depth games of all time that have stayed good for a really long time, so that's most definitely worth a yeehaw. Please say the new one is